everybody, and welcome to the Knit1 Breathe2 podcast. My name is Alyssa, and I'm coming to you from London, Ontario, Canada. Today I'm going to be doing things a bit different. First of all, it's nighttime. The kids are in bed, so I'm going to be talking a little quieter today, so hopefully I can adjust the volume so you can hear me properly. I am also super comfy and cozy right now. I am wearing just a t-shirt and a nice cozy sweater cardigan that has these beautiful white stars all over it. I got it from Walmart. I did not knit it. I just need to be comfy and cozy. I've got my jammy pants on. I've got a glass of water. So I hope you can get comfy too. Grab your favorite drink. And I'm going to talk to you about my knitting today. It is February 28th, 2020. So as usual, I'm doing an end of the month wrap up for how my knitting and crafting has been going for the last month. But I'm going to break this into 2 episodes because there's been something I've wanted to do for a while for myself. And I think it makes sense to kind of record it as 2 separate episodes. And so this one's going to be focused on my knitting and the next one's going to be focused on my cross stitch. And I'm hoping to do that in mid-March so that at the end of March I can be back on schedule with my regular crafting update. So what I would like to do today is actually do a knitting inventory. I've seen a lot of chatter on Instagram and on other podcasts in the knitting community. Many people this year are really focusing on knitting from stash and also using patterns from stash. And so I've been really thinking about lately about the direction of my knitting and kind of that feeling of overindulging with buying stuff and not having the amount of time to knit it all. So I know we all go through those times when we just kind of want to buy and we see pretty things and we just want it, and so we buy it without a plan in mind sometimes. Now I have tried to be mindful in general about having, and usually what happens, the reason why I buy yarn is because I see a pattern that I like, and so I fall in love with a pattern and then I find yarn for it. The only time, sorry that I'm a little tired tonight, so I hope I don't look too bad. Oh my gosh. This lighting isn't the best either way. Anyway, doesn't matter. Neither here nor there. The only other time I do buy yarn, just to buy yarn, is one, if I'm visiting somewhere new, I might want to get a skein of yarn as a souvenir from the place that I've been. And another time that I buy yarn and other knitting supplies when I don't necessarily have a plan is when I want to support certain small businesses. And so there's a couple businesses that are near and dear to my heart because they're good friends of mine, and so I want to support them as often as I can. So I do try to buy their yarn as well as their bags and other notions to match what I'm trying to do with my knitting, of course. So what I want to do is first I'm going to show you my whips, what I'm working on right now. I've shown these before But I just want to, as part of my personal inventory on what is going on with my knitting, what I have in my stash, what I plan to do with that, and kind of future plans. So my first project that I'm going to show you is my Tegna. This is by, do I ever remember this? Isn't it Andrea Mowry or is it Caitlin Hunter? I can never keep names straight. Sorry for the crinkling. I'm pretty sure it's Andrea Mowry, isn't it? I've been working on it so long that I have completely forgotten. No, it is Caitlin Hunter. I knew it was one of the two. I knew it was. So Tegna. I know the picture is horrible because it's been folded and refolded and shoved in my knitting bag with my knitting. It's supposed to be a cropped tee, but you can make it as long as you want, of course. So I am knitting it in a Holst Garn Coast. Holst Garn Coast in the colorway Saffron. It's like a burnt orange color. I love this color. I used to have a sweater, like a store-bought sweater in this color, and I loved it. That was a few years ago. I no longer have it because of fit and style and all those other things that happen over time. So I'm doing, I've been trying to work on this a lot lately to try to get it done soon. So this is how much I have now. So I am at about 12 inches from the bottom to where I'm on right now. And I need 15 before I separate for the sleeves. So not too much farther. One thing with this yarn, it is very fine. So I'm finding I'm getting, it's about 10 stitches per inch with this yarn. I usually get about 8.5 or 9 for fingering. I'm also using bigger needles, so I don't know that I normally do with fingering weight. But yeah, it's coming along. It's just garter right now. Just, you know, keep going. Here, let's see if I can stretch it out so you can see that lace pattern. I love the lace. It's very pretty. Again, the lighting's terrible right now. You can say it's kind of like cathedral type. I'm not sure what the pattern of that type of lace is called, but it kind of reminds me of a cathedral, right? So that's what it looks like to me. So yeah, it's coming along. I would like to have this done for the spring or summer so then I can wear it in the appropriate season. But of course, the nice thing about cropped tees is that you could of course wear it over anything. So if you have a maxi dress or those really fashionable like one-piece pantsuit thingies, I know they have a name. I don't remember what they're called, but this would look pretty cool over top of one of those. I don't have one, but I'd like to get one of those specifically for things like this. Which I'll talk about more actually as we get into my plans. So that's my major whip that I have right now in terms of knitting, and I'm trying to work on it as much as possible. But of course, sometimes it's not super portable. So if I'm going out, for example, to a knit night, or I'm going to my kids' swimming lessons or something, I want something a little more portable, so I always have some socks on the go. Right now, I am knitting a pair of just vanilla socks in the Woodstock 50 colorway by Mustache Yarns. Isn't it beautiful? I love this colorway. I am just doing a vanilla sock with a Fish Lips Kiss heel. So I have the first one done. And the second one, I am just onto the foot now. So I have my leg with my heel, and now I'm knitting my foot like that. I use US 0 or 2mm needles, and I do it in the round on a very long cord, so magic loop style. It's definitely my favorite way to knit socks. I did learn on double points, but I definitely like this much better. It's less fiddly for me. Haven't started doing 2 at a time yet because I don't seem to get the second sock syndrome that I know many people get, and that's one of the reasons they like doing the 2 at a time. Yeah, I am trying to get a single pair of socks out of one ball of their 50 grams. So this is how much I have left. So I'm hoping that will be enough to do this sock. When I weighed this sock, it was exactly 25 grams. So fingers crossed I can do the same thing with that sock. I do have a whole other skein of this because she sells it either as a single skein or as a double half skein. So you could have matchy socks. I don't care about having matchy socks. Actually, I'm starting to prefer not having them, especially if they have a lot of stripes, because I like the fact that now on this one I have different colors on the top, so like I can enjoy all of the colors instead of just the ones that are sticking out of my boots or out of my shoes. So yeah, I'm quite happy with that. So those are going well. Nothing special, nothing fancy. The toe I use is the rounded toe option that you can find in the Rose City Rollers pattern, which is lovely. I like that pattern. So yeah, that's that. I do want to knit more socks this year because recently I've had to throw out 2 of my pairs because they get completely worn out on the ball. Like worn out, I cannot, there's no way I could mend them. Or it's like basically knitting a whole other sock. So why don't I just knit a whole other sock? And to be honest, I've had those socks for a couple of years, so that's pretty good considering I wear them every week. Yeah, they're lasting pretty good. So, but I do want to knit more socks this year so I can replace the ones that I'm having to finally get rid of. Okay, my last whip, and I do struggle to call it a whip because I have barely worked on this thing at all. This is my half sail shawl. This is a free pattern, I believe. And who is it by? Bantry Yarns. They have, the whole pattern name is Full Sail and Half Sail Shawl, and it is by Bantry Yarns. I am doing the half, and it's basically you just have a fingering weight yarn and then a mohair, and then you do rows, and you go back and forth between the 2 of them. I know I've talked about this project before, and every time I talk about, I tell you that I don't love it. I still don't love it. I think I'm just gonna rip it out. I don't want to put in the time into something that I don't love doing. Like, I don't love knitting it. I don't want to wear it. Yes, I could finish it and then donate it or give it away to someone else, but I don't have a lot of time to knit. I don't want to be doing something I don't want to do. So, I don't know. Like, I like the yarn. It's super fuzzy and comfy. Like, it would be a really nice spring or summer wrap. But I think what I might do instead, and this is getting into my plans and stuff for my stash, is I might rip it out and then I might just hold them double. Because I hate, I'm gonna say it, I hate knitting with just mohair. It's awful. It's like knitting with a spider web. I hate it. I said it. I had it. I hate it. So what I'm thinking is I might hold it double. Maybe these two together, or maybe different doubles, but something else with the mohair, and then use it to make either a hitchhiker, because I've wanted to make a hitchhiker shawl for a very long time, a couple years at least. So that might be what I do instead with this yarn. Just to let you know what the yarn is, this is a Noro. Oh geez, do I not even have my bands anymore? Doesn't look like it. Wow, I really don't. I believe this is a Noro. Every project I talk about will be on my Ravelry page, and you can find that under Plan Knitologist. Yeah, and then the mohair, again, I don't remember who it was. But it's just like a brown, a dark brown. That's just my hair. Really soft, really fluffy. Hate knitting with it. So I think if I hold it together with something else, I won't hate it as much. I may keep these together for a hitchhiker, or I may put this with something else. I don't know. I don't know. I don't love it. I'm done with it. I'm sick of it. It's gone. It's gone. Bye-bye. Whatever this is, half sail shawl. Yeah. So those are all my whips. That's it. 3, 2 now. Thank goodness. That actually makes me feel better. See, it's all about, right? Isn't that a thing this year? People getting rid of what doesn't bring them joy or any of that nonsense. Sorry, I shouldn't say nonsense. If that is a thing that you have done and it worked for you, that's awesome. Because that does give me a joy to get rid of something that I'm not going to do and not enjoy it, right? So that does work. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of my stash. I'm not going to go through everything, like I'm not going to go through all my sock yarn, because guess what I want to do with my sock yarn? I want to make socks with it. So it's not very exciting. I will show you a few of them though, because I'm excited about them. I definitely want to make some shorties out of this. This is the Regia Tutti Frutti, and this is the watermelon colorway, so I'm really excited to knit some shorties with that. I sent half of that to Verena. Hi Verena. We kind of exchange half skeins of self-striping yarn because we both like to do shorties, and so I use less than 50 grams per a pair of that. So if someone else can use the other half, that's awesome. So I sent her half of that, and she sent me half of her, oh, I think this was pomegranate, wasn't it? So it's like oranges and greens, and there's like some speckly stuff in there too. This was not her, this was me doing a skein. I suck at doing that, especially with like a small half skein. So I'm gonna have those. She also sent me this beautiful yarn that I can't remember what it is now. Is this another Tutti Frutti Verena? I don't remember if it was. You sent it to me on a postcard. The dragon fruit color from Colorful Creativity, maybe? So dragon fruit. Cool. So those are some of the ones I wanted to show you. And I do, other ones I definitely want to get done are, I do have a double, oh my goodness, what's happening here? Oh, that's I got a leftover this yarn coming at me. Okay, I do have another twin sock by Timber Yarns, and this one is Sage. So it's a bunch of different greens, grays, whites, blacks. Again, I'll probably only use one of these. So if anyone is interested in doing a trade for the other half, let me know. I want to do that. And then the other one I want to really, really make sure I get to is this one, which is a self-striping. It's a very odd stripe though. It's like it has stripes going one way and then the other way it's a gradient or something. So it'll be very interesting to knit up. And this was one of my souvenir skeins from my Bermuda trip last year. And I really want to knit up socks in that as well. All the other stuff is just like kind of random sock yarn that you might have, like some Patton's Croy, that kind of thing that you just have in your stash. So that's that area. What do I want to talk about next? I'm gonna go through my queue right now on Ravelry. And this keeps changing. This is the problem, right? I'm sure you have the same problem. I find these patterns and I fall in love with them, and then I go, okay, that yarn would be great for that. And then I put it in my queue, and then I end up with 10 to 15 patterns in my queue because it takes me a long time to knit something. I mean, look at this Tegna. I started it, I don't even know when. Last spring, I think. So probably almost a year. It took me a year to do the So Faded sweater. If I'm doing a large shawl, like a 2 skein shawl, it takes me 2 to 3 months because I don't have a ton of knitting time, especially during the school year. So I'm really trying to adjust my expectations of myself to be more in line with reality. Because I have 3 or 4 or 5 sweaters in my queue. Well, if each one of those takes me a year, it's going to take me 5 years to knit all of them, right? So I really want to start thinking more mindfully of these things. So I'm just going to bring up my queue. Oh, Lordy, look at what's first in my queue. First thing in my queue is a scarf for my husband. My husband has been asking for a fingering weight garter stitch scarf made in black and burgundy and gray and maybe white. He's been asking for that for years. I've been putting it off and putting it off because it's going to be so boring and it's going to take so long. Because scarves aren't fast. Because the other thing is he wants it to have vertical stripes, which means I have to do the rows the long way, not the short way. So I timed myself on the Tegna. Each round right now is 400 stitches, I think. It takes me 20 minutes. Well, 15 to 20 minutes. So I think, you know, if you have a scarf, it's probably going to be about in fingering weight and you're going the length way and you want it to be long, it's probably going to be even longer. It's probably going to be like 600 stitches. I don't even know. I haven't looked at it yet. I don't know. Can you tell I'm stressing myself out about this? It is number one in my queue because I did find a scarf by Arn and Carlos that I do really like. And it's called, I think it's Stian, S-T-I-A-N. Let me get the picture for you. That one. Sorry for the glare. I like it because it's well, one, it's the colors that he wants. It has vertical stripes and it has, but the vertical stripes, it's kind of broken up with those red, like half stripes or part stripes. I do like it. It's quite nice. Like it's exactly what he wants. It says it's 63 inches long, excluding fringe. I probably won't do fringe. My husband's not a huge fringe kind of a person. So let me just see. I have bought the pattern already because I keep thinking I'm going to do this. One day I'm going to do this. I'm just going to look at it. And I'm just going to use some Knit Picks fingering. So I do have it. Here's the maroon, not maroon, burgundy color. I have a gray. Actually, this isn't Knit Picks. This is wool-like. But I think this is Knit Picks. I have some Knit Picks and some this wool-lite. I figure I can just put it together. So I do have the yarn. There's the black. I have the pattern. I just need the will and motivation to do it. I'm just going to see how many you need to cast on. Now, they use a Kid Silk Haze. And then they hold it double. So I think if I just do fingering single, it should be okay. Because they say hold it double, cast on 320 stitches. I don't know. What do you think? If I'm using fingering weight and they call for this Kid Silk Haze, can I just hold it single? Let me look at the Ravelry. Yeah, because the yarn weight is lace, what they use. So and they hold it double, so if I just use one strand of fingering, that should be okay, right? It might be a little smaller. Anyway, okay, so that's number one in my queue. I really do want to do it because I do want to knit him something that he really loves. My very first project that I made was a scarf and he still wears it. So that's pretty cute. It's been 12 years. He needs a new scarf. Okay, so that's my first in my queue. My second in my queue is a sweater and it is Mountain Mist by Tin Can Knits. Okay, I'm back. I had a bit of an issue with my iPhone telling me that it was full, so now I'm back on my iPad, so the angle's a little different. So hopefully everything works okay. I was just telling you that the next thing I want to make is is the Mountain Mist sweater by Tin Can Knits. I do have the pattern and I do have the yarn. So I have a bunch of Patton's Classic wool to do that sweater in. The first main color is going to be Mercury. It's not quite black, you can tell. It's like a really, really, really dark gray. And then the second color is going to be this kind of sapphire blue. It's called Peacock. And then the third lighter color, like the color of the sky, is this light blue. And this is called Seafoam. So those are going to be those colors for that Mountain Mist sweater. I do really want to do it. I really want to make a yoked sweater. That one really caught my eye because I'm from Alberta, the western part of Canada, and I always remember looking out at the mountains in the distance, driving to school or driving to work. And so that sweater really, really reminds me of that. So I do want to do it. Once my Tegna is done, I really want to have that as my next major sweater. Are there 4 colors in that sweater? Because here's another one. There must be, because I also have this gray, which is called Gray Mix. I'll have to look at the picture again. There's the 4. Not great lighting, sorry, it's like 9:30 at night, almost 10 o'clock. So, that's next on my queue. This video is going to be in a million pieces because I keep having technical difficulties. So I fell in love with this shawl pattern by Andre Bedoe. I'm sorry, I have no idea how to pronounce that name, but it is based on the phases of the moon. And I'll just show you. There. Isn't that awesome? I feel like, I have to knit this. I have to knit it. There we go. Isn't it beautiful? She has another kind of a cool picture of it. So I do have this pattern. I bought the pattern immediately as soon as she put it out. I don't have the yarn because I'm going to have to buy yarn. I'm not going to show that again. So that's third on my queue because I have to. I love it. I love it. It also looks like it has some interesting ways to knit, like using a lot of short rows, doing an interesting bind off, the moons along the edge are like knit on afterwards. So yeah, a lot of cool things. Sorry. Yeah, so that's what I want to do next. I have a bunch of other stuff where I have the patterns, I bought them, I have them printed off, and I have the yarn. So I want to go through those too. When I was learning color work, I bought this pattern. Isn't that pretty? Nice hat pattern. It is called, what is the pattern actually called? The Merry Dancers Tory. There it is for you. They require 4 colors, and some of them, they have some color ideas in the pattern. I really like the fall type color palette they came out with, and so a while ago, probably a year ago, I went and bought all the colors off of Knit Picks. So I have this yellow color and cornmeal. So this is all swish DK. So cornmeal allspice. And this would be the main color of the hat, which is called bark. And then I would need, I think I needed 2 more actually. And I think it might have been this green one. I don't remember. Is that terrible? Yeah, because I think you need the main color and then 4 additional colors, I believe. Anyway, if it's just 4, it'll be those. Don't remember the name of this color. I use it for something else. If it's 5 colors, then I'll also add the green. I don't remember if I need that one or not, but I think I do. This is nothing. This is just a part of the DK. My DK pile, which is down here. Yeah, so I want to do that. I would love to do a color work hat, especially since I have the yarn for it. I do have some other hats that I would like to do. And this was part of my Make 9 for last year. So this one down here. It's not a great picture because it's small. But it's called Spun. And it is by Callie Sierra Berg. You can see that on the bottom. It's called Spun, and she also has like a spun bulky or something. I don't know. But this is meant for worsted. And I have this from The Loving Path. It's like a gray tonal, but it has like these beautiful speckles in blue and pink. And it came with this beautiful, like, bright blue pom-pom, which is a perfect match for my new winter coat. So I figured, like, if I have the blue on and then I have this with the pom-pom on top, it would be perfect. I do have a couple more worsted weight skeins. I got one on a worsted and bulky kit, and yeah, this one's actually bulky, in the summer. Because I'm like, yeah, I want to knit all the hats. And so I bought these. So this is another Loving Path worsted weight. And this is Songbird yarn and fibers in the Gouldane Finch colorway. Beautiful, isn't it? I thought that would make an awesome hat too. So I have all these. I want to knit all the hats, and then I haven't made any. Excuse me. Okay. Next are all of these. I want to go through my fingering weights yarn, because these are all like my special skeins. I'll go through them. This one I got as a gift. I think I got it in like the fiber share. I love it. It's green, black, cream, brown. Love it. I don't know what I'm going to do with it though. I'd have no plan. So it's kind of just sitting in my stash, just waiting. These two I've had forever, at least 2 years, if not longer. This is by Casual Fashion Queen, Moonchild colorway. And I have this one by Sea Turtle Fiber Arts. This is the Flames colorway, Calgary Flames. I grew up in Calgary. I've always wanted to put these two together and make the Light Shift shawl, which I have. The pattern, I've had it forever. It's just it's like a big rectangular, well, it's not rectangular actually. It's like a parallelogram. With 2 colors, and then you do a fading between the 2 colors. And I thought these are perfect because this one's base is black with some yellow and orange, and this one is white with yellow and black. I think those would be awesome faded together. So that's always been my plan with those. So those. These all have plans, you see. This one doesn't though. This is from Bermuda. This is from Sheepwrecked in Bermuda. She no longer dyes yarn, I believe. This is called Bermuda Onion. I don't know if you can see it. It is sparkly and it's like a very, very, very pale green. So like if you were to buy a white onion at the store, you know how it kind of has that green tinge? Those are called Bermuda onions. This is the exact same color. When I bought it, I was thinking maybe like a hitchhiker. Like this would make, I think, a beautiful one skein shawl. Eventually. Next up, I got this at a knitting retreat almost a year ago. We did like a yarn swap. I love it. I immediately thought maybe like doing a hat out of it or doing fingerless mitts. Isn't it beautiful? This is Totally Inked Yarns. And it's called Tell Me a Secret. Yep, that was really weird. My iPad just kind of turned off. This I've had in my stash for a year or two. It is by Tiny Human Knits. It's called Page 394. I have 2 of them. I bought because I want to make a light top out of it, or a tank top, a sleeveless top of some sort. That was, as soon as I saw her talk about it on her podcast, that's exactly what I bought it for. Haven't done a thing with it. I have a bunch of patterns in my library that I think would be good with that. Haven't gotten to it. Next, I have this set. Is this making you want to do this with your yarn or not want to do it with your yarn? Because sometimes it's like, oh yeah, that's what I want to do. And then it's like, oh no, I have too much stuff. And I realize I don't have a big stash. But I think if I had it any bigger, I would feel really overwhelmed. This is by Coriander Knits. It is her Superwash Merino Sock Mini Set. We've got purple, blue, green, yellow, orange, red, and pink. Each of them are 20 grams each. I was wanting to pair it with this. This is from Hazel Knits, which I got from Get Your Yarn Wish Granted from Adrian of the Fiber Friends 2 years ago. I wanted to do this, like a stormy rainbow type thing and a shawl. Hasn't happened yet. This is kind of depressing. Last one I have, oh no, there's one, darn, there's one back there too. This one, I love her yarn. This is from, oh my goodness, where'd the tag go? And why is my Wendy's Wonders? She does beautiful, beautiful gradients. I can't remember what the exact name of this colorway is, but it has a wolf in the picture beside the yarn. And it's like gray tonal, gray and browns, and then a cream. And I just thought it would be a perfect, I've wanted to do like a lace scarf for me, like a quite wide scarf, but like just beautiful lace scarf. And her gradients look beautiful with lace. So that's the plan for that. I do have a few in my queue. Surprise, surprise. Not my queue, my favorites. And then I have this yarn. I think I got this from Fiber Share, maybe. Beautiful gradient. Teal to a blue. I've wanted to do the Sea Dragon shawl in that forever. Here's the problem though, all of these projects are enormous and they take a really long time. If I'm lucky, I might be able to get 2 or 3 large projects done in a year. If it's a sweater, maybe 2 projects. Because I like to do socks and hats and stuff also, right? So I can usually get a bunch of small projects done, but big projects, I can maybe get 2 in a year. Are there any other patterns that I bought that I don't have yarn for yet? No. I do have more yarn though that I'm just going to talk about briefly. Not that yarn, that's for teaching people how to knit. I do have a bunch of cotton for doing dishcloths. I haven't been doing dishcloths much recently. I don't know, I just find I have to be in the mood for them. If I don't have a sock on the go, then I'll work on a dishcloth. I also have one in my desk at school. And because I have a really large break between my 2 classes this semester, I might get some done at school too. Yeah, so I have a bunch of that, including this ginormous cone of cotton. Because my idea was to get one variegated and then a bunch of solid colors that could go with it so I can make sets. Like sets of 3 to give as hostess gifts and stuff. Another thing that I have, which I bet a lot of you have, are a ton of minis. Look at all of these. Isn't this awesome? I love this because I put them in order of like a rainbow, so it's like really pretty. But look at all of these. Love them all. I really, really, really want to do the adventurous wrap by Amba O'Brien. That's the one in the middle here. Or something like that. She has a few wraps that she's designed that are specifically for mini sets. So I really want to do one of those. Oh yeah, that was the shawl I was thinking of for my rainbow and gray set right there. Isn't that pretty? They're all pretty, aren't they? The problem is I have no attention span. Okay, that is everything except for my last big thing of yarn is my Sockmatician yarn that I bought last year for my birthday. It is beautiful. I love the colors. I love the feel. I did not buy this with a specific purpose in mind. I just wanted to buy it because I love the colors. I love the idea behind how he named the colors. And I just wanted something really, really amazing for my birthday last year. Because it was my big 4-0. What I would like to do with this, well, 2 ideas. One is to do his Il Burrado scarf, which is like this beautiful mosaic style double knitting scarf. It's gorgeous. Or do a bunch of like hats and mitt sets. I don't know. It's DK, so that means I can use it for DK projects. And then the last thing I bought most recently are these 2 lovely skeins by Loving Path. This is her Orchard House. Yeah, Orchard House. It's like a very, very pale yellow. It's like a creamy yellow with these beautiful flecks of green. Again, I want to do a nice light top. I think the Brunswick tea kind of had my eye on that. But look at this. Like, and again, I'm going to say it again. I know my stash is not huge, but look. Do you know how long it's going to take me to knit all of this? It's like a baby. A squishy baby. And I love it all. But it does make me unhappy that it's sitting here not getting knit. Because I want to knit it and I want to wear it. But in order to wear it, I have to knit it. And in order to knit it, I need time, and I needed to get the other stuff that I'm knitting done. So, the plan. I don't really have one right now. I haven't thought it out. I just wanted to do my inventory first. I will probably watch this video and see if anything popped out to me, like when I was talking about certain things. Maybe it'll be obvious what I should be focusing on next. In general, I feel like I seem to be drawn towards tops right now. But they also take a long time, especially if you're knitting them fingering weight. Yeah, so I'm just gonna leave it at that. I've done my inventory in terms of yarn I have, patterns that I have ready to go, and I have a bunch matched, right? So that's a good start. I have a bunch of patterns matched and to yarn that I already have. So do you have any strategies? Like maybe it's something where every time I finish a project, I pick something out of a hat and be like, okay, this is the one I'm doing, right? Maybe I pick out my light shift and that's the one I do, right? Because these are all projects I want to do. So it's not like if I pick one, I'm going to be like, oh man, I don't want to do that. I don't know. I do want to get this stuff knit. I bought this yarn so I can knit with it, number one, and wear it. I didn't buy it to keep it on a shelf. I really didn't. So that's kind of my inventory. So this kind of has been a Knit1 and a Breathe2 podcast, hasn't it? I've noticed the last few, I haven't done a Breathe2 section of my podcast. So I apologize for that. It is hard coming up with new stuff, I gotta say, to talk about in the Breathe2 section, because there's only so many tips and tricks that I have learned, right? Here's one, have water. So quick tip for parents, even fur parents, right? If you have fur babies. I was talking to my therapist about, kind of feeling like, do I do enough as a parent? Do you do enough? Like, am I being a good enough parent? Like, am I just going to screw up my kids? I mean, we all will, but am I going to really screw them up? And so my therapist said there's been studies done and the rule is 30%. You have to be a decent parent, fur parent, human parent, 30% of the time for your kid to turn out a normal human being. 30%. We can all do 30%. I think like that's 70%. You can just screw up. I mean, you don't have to screw it up, but you don't have to worry about being a perfect parent or person all of the time, right? So keep that in mind if you're worried about your relationship with someone, with your kids. Maybe you're worried about being a good pet parent. I'm going to talk about that more in upcoming episodes, actually. And yeah, 30%. Keep it in mind. We can do 30%. We've got this. I've got this. You've got this. So I've hoped you kind of found this episode, I know it's been quite different, but I hope you found it kind of interesting to see what kind of ideas that I'm coming up with for my yarn, and maybe it gave you ideas what you'd like to do, or maybe you're like, oh man, I'm glad I don't have her problems. I don't know. Anyway, I hope it was interesting nonetheless. For all my returning viewers, thank you for returning. I always appreciate your comments and your likes, and that you subscribe and watch every time. If you are new, I hope this was enjoyable for you, or at least informational for you. If it was, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I did have to restart my channel about I guess it would have been 10 months ago or so, and I am still trying to work out my subscriber count. So if you like what you see, please subscribe, and that way you can get a notification when I post a new video, which is about once a month at this point, at the end of each month. But sometimes I surprise you guys and have one in the middle of the month. So that way you can get a notification when I post new videos, and I would love to hear how you're doing, what you've been working on, and I hope you get lots of crafting time in before the next time I see you again. But don't forget to breathe too. See you later. Bye-bye. So, I fast forwarded through this. I've been trying to rip it up, and it's just all completely tangled every time I do a new row, because I was carrying my yarn up, and it's almost like it gets knotted at the end of each row. And to be honest, I don't like this yarn enough. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's the rest of my mohair that I have left. Whoop. Here's the rest of my Noro. Let's get that part off because there's a knot in it. I'm going to keep that. I'm throwing this in the garbage. It's not worth my time. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.